Tantric cosmology treats the universe as a dense, interlocking linguistic architecture. This architecture is codified in the Çadadhvan, a technical schematic of reality developed by Abhinavagupta and Kshamaraja within the non-dualistic traditions of Kashmirian Saivism. The system establishes the structure of the cosmos and the structure of language as parallel hierarchies, both descending from the absolute Godhead. The first half is the Çadadhvan, the way of space, representing Prakasha, the objective world. Parallel is the Çadadhvan, the way of time, representing Vimarsha, the subjective power of the word bringing objects into being. These two courses are entirely interdependent. Material reality requires a linguistic foundation to exist. By utilizing this sixfold structure, the Çadadhvan maps a cosmos where matter and grammar function as two expressions of the same manifest energy. While this structure explains how the universe expands outward, the esoteric practitioner approaches the map from the bottom up. During Diksha, or initiation, the adept uses this schematic to reverse the process of manifestation. This is samharakrama, the sequence of resorption. The goal is to systematically dismantle the cosmos from the gross physical level back to the absolute. The vehicle for this ascent is prana, the vital breath. The adept maps the macrocosmic layers of the universe onto their own respiratory cycle, turning breath into a tool for ontological navigation. We follow this upward path, deconstructing reality from the lowest physical world to the highest syllable. Liberation in this system requires the active epistemological eating up of the gross material world until it is absorbed back into its subtle phonetic equivalents. Resorption begins at the lowest tier of manifestation, the realm of differentiation consciousness and duality. The spatial component here consists of the bhuvanas, the countless physical and spiritual worlds, categorized by the texts into 118 or 224 distinct realms. These correspond to the padas, words or syllables bound by temporal sequence and discursive thought. This is the Nava mandala. It is a mathematical grid used to process and resorb this grossest level of the cosmos. The grid contains the 81 distinct padas of the Vidya Raja mantra, representing the total extension of the manifest world. The adept uses the syllable Om to systematically traverse and neutralize this grid. By following a counterclockwise spiral, the Om moves from the outer edges of the grid toward the center. As the syllable reaches the central point, the 81 divisions of the gross world are pulled inward and neutralized. Through this mathematical traversal, the adept dissolves spatial diversity back into a single point of temporal sound. As the gross world is consumed, the adept reaches the subtle tier, the threshold where duality begins to merge into non-duality. At this level, the physical worlds collapse into their foundational categories, the 36 tattvas, or ontic levels of reality. Simultaneously, words collapse into mantras, a state of sound energy that is purer and more concentrated. Moving through this subtle layer requires an uchara, a precise vertical ascent through the enunciation of a root mantra. The adept syncs the 11 ascending stages of the Om vibration with the Hamsa, the median breath. This energy surges upward through the central channel of the body, illuminating specific nodes as the vibration intensifies. The 11 phonetic fragments of the mantra, from the initial vowel A to the subtle samana, function as resonant triggers, absorbing specific clusters of the 36 tattvas as the breath rises. When the breath reaches the top of the central channel, the ontic levels of reality are entirely resorbed into the vibration of the mantra. The adept has successfully demonstrated that physical reality is a gross iteration of foundational vibrational energy. The ascent reaches the supreme threshold, where awareness is completely free of duality. Here, the 36 tattvas merge into the 5 kalas. These are the all-encompassing energies that Shiva uses to fragment the absolute into a manifest universe. Mantras dissolve into the 50 varnas, the pure, unmixed Sanskrit phonemes. Mapping at this level is precise. Consonants govern the lower cosmic spheres, while the 16 pure vowels map exclusively to the highest Shantatitaka kala. Abhinavagupta defines these supreme varnas as actual units of pure cognition. They are the raw seeds of consciousness, existing in their full power before the mind is disturbed by the perception of external objects. This reveals a universe held together by undisturbed consciousness, disguised as basic sonetic units. At the very peak of the system lies the Shantatita Kala, the domain of the vowels, where Shiva and Shakti exist in absolute union. The final step of initiation involves passing beyond even this fifth Kala, condensing the entire manifestation into a single point of infinite density, the Bindu. Beyond the Çadadhvan, language and space vanish into a solid mass of consciousness and bliss. This peak reveals the central paradox of the system. The strict ladder the adept used for their ascent is itself an illusion. Abhinavagupta concludes that these 6 courses never existed separately from the Godhead. They are freely assumed modalities of Shiva's own freedom. The vertical division between the expressing word and the expressed world dissolves, allowing the 2 columns to perfectly merge. The adept has traced the architecture of reality to its source, systematically collapsing worlds into syllables, and syllables into the silence of the absolute. By mastering the linguistic mechanics of the Çadadhvan, the adept proves that the word, the cosmos, and the self have always been the exact same thing,